It on TV.
All things Randy at randyrhodes.com.
Go for launch.
Speaking truth to power, the Randy Rhodes Show.
Okay, so when you talk about Trump staffing the government, okay, some of the names that are coming up are people you've never heard of, but you need to meet them. This is one that MSNBC Mehdi Hassan's show introduced me to. I was not aware of this dude, okay? His name is Mike Davis. And one of the things I want everybody to understand is when Steve Bannon is throwing out names like Kash Patel being the head of the CIA, and he's saying two things like, okay, so there are 4,000 key positions in the government that we have to purge, and 1,000 of those take Senate confirmation, so that will take a while. I want you to understand they figured out their way around that too, because that was, an earlier clip that I had of Bannon at CPAC. Okay, so now what they've agreed to understand to do is that they will make everybody acting. Just like we had an acting Secretary of Defense on January 6th. Remember all that? And we had an acting Attorney General. And Donald Trump wanted to make Jeffrey Clark the acting Attorney General. Jeffrey Clark, the guy who came up with the fake electors plot, the scheme, the illegal plan. He should be in charge of law enforcement in this country. So now there's another guy. His name's Mike Davis. Mike Davis is one of these right-wing conservative lawyers. He was responsible for shepherding Gorsuch's, nomination through the Senate, and also Kavanaugh, and creating doubt about Kavanaugh's victims and questioning them and making Kavanaugh into the actual victim here. This is Mike Davis, okay? And he's being considered. His name is being thrown around by the likes of Steve Bannon and others, Jr., also, as possibly the very first acting Attorney General in a Trump administration. And even Mike Davis realizes that what he will be asked to do will be so illegal that he will only last a few weeks in the office of Attorney General, and then he will require a pardon, and that's fine. That's fine. Swear to God.
Don't just listen to Trump right now. Listen also to the people Trump might hire to execute his second-term agenda. People like this guy.
We're going to fire a lot of people in the executive branch and the deep state. We're going to indict Joe Biden and Hunter Biden and James Biden and every other scumball, sleazeball Biden. We're going to deport a lot of people, 10 million people and growing, anchor babies, their parents, their grandparents. We're going to put kids in cages. It's going to be glorious. We're going to detain a lot of people in the D.C. Gulag and Gitmo. I'm going to recommend a lot of pardons. Every January 6th defendant is going to get a pardon. During my 3-week reign of terror as Trump acting Attorney General, before I get chased out of town with my Trump pardon, I will rain hell on Washington, D.C.
I mean, some people go, really? You think he's serious? Yes, I think he's serious. You can dismiss all of them as cranks and crackpots or whatever you want to say, okay? Whatever you want to characterize them as, that's fine. The more cranky and the more crackpotty and the more insane and the more sycophantic and the more willing to break the law they are, the more they are in contention for seriously huge jobs. That's a fact. And it's like this is why this man's name is coming out of, Junior's mouth and Bannon's mouth. And, Mike Davis, my 3-week reign of terror. They know that what they're planning or hoping to be able to do with their power is illegal. They know it. They don't care. And they're not interested in Senate confirmation. The AG has to be Senate. They will go in as acting Attorney General. And when they leave, they will have broken the law 8,950 different ways. They will have sent people to gulags. They will have deported people. They will have, made a president that didn't deserve to be president, inoculated against any crime he wants to commit. You might even have the president of the United States under an attorney general like that committing murder, going out and shooting, shoplifters, just shooting them on TV and being able to do nothing about it. And you'll all sit there and go, I never saw that coming. And I will have to call you a liar. But then I will go to the gulag too, because I am telling you the truth. and that can't happen in Trump world. But this is why his name is being thrown about.
There's a couple people that you could put in positions like that. We talk about Mike Davis as Attorney General. Like Mike Davis, and Kash Patel be like interim AGs.
See?
And he got a shout out in a recent TV appearance by Steve Bannon.
You think somebody that's struggling? You think somebody that's struggling right now in the economy cares about firing random deep state people, indicting Joe Biden's
there's many things
brother,
Tim,
deporting
did
people?
I say that's all they're going to do? That's Mike Davis would probably be the Attorney General.
Yeah, maybe it's not such a good idea to import people from third world Marxist hellholes who hate America. We're going to become a third world Marxist hellhole very quickly. It is only illegal to object to elections in third world Marxist hellholes, and now in New York, D.C., and Atlanta. This is clearly a political prosecution by Soros-funded Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. Soros-funded Manhattan DA. Soros-funded Manhattan DA Alvin Bragg. He's a George Soros-funded puppet prosecutor. You certainly can't trust these George Soros-funded prosecutors.
Still too subtle for you? And move to Twitter, where Davis has written, quote, "The violent black underclass is a danger to America. We must resume the mass incarceration of these thugs. In the meantime, Americans must arm up. These monsters will kill." Davis has, in fact, told followers to arm up at least 16 times on Twitter, to arm up against the violent black underclass, against Soros-backed DAs, against county attorneys, against Democrats in general. All while tweeting the individual names of journalists, college professors, and politicians he would send to the gulag.
I'm not kidding.
That legitimately strikes fear into my heart.
And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get people to actually smell the coffee. I'm trying to get people to wake up to, what's ahead, what it is that they are plotting and planning and scheming to do. Should they actually get their little mitts on power of the magnitude of President ever again. This will not go well for ordinary people. This will not go well for people of color. This will not go well for Jews. This will not go well for anybody who is here as a DACA recipient or anybody who is an anchor child, who was born here, but their parents were not, citizens. This will not go well for an inordinate amount of Americans. This will be bad. This will be scary. This will be, a place that, we used to just read about. And so when you combine what's being said there at the, out of Mike Davis's mouth, there's so many of them. There's Mike Davis, Mike Johnson, all of these people. When you start to put it all together and you realize today that the 8th Circuit Court of Appeals actually said you have no right to challenge an election if you're an individual or part of a group, meaning if you're part of the NAACP, yes, colored people, or if you're part of the ACLU, or if you're an individual who has had their vote taken away for some crazy reason, like you were a felon once, but you got your rights restored. Well, they didn't recognize that, and so you can't vote. Well, you can't sue anymore, according to the 8th Circuit Court of Appeal. And no right to privacy. Don't have time to listen to the live show? Want to hear more on your schedule? Go to randyrhodes.com and buy a stinking podcast.